I did a video the other day on the differences between relinquishing your U.S. citizenship versus taking, just an extra step and going to Puerto Rico and, trying to get your taxes down low. And, one of the things I didn't bring out that's really important, I had someone send in a notification on which made a lot of sense. And is the fact that, in Puerto Rico, one thing that's not going to stay, or actually it's not going to change at all from the time you leave the U.S. to get to Puerto Rico, and that's filing your income taxes. It's amazing how many people don't think about all the time that you spend doing your filing requirements for taxes. You might lower your taxes going to Puerto Rico, but you're still not going to get around two things. You're not going to get your taxes to zero, number one, in most cases. And number two is, you're going to be still filing your taxes every year. If you relinquish, man, you can get away from all that time consuming, thinking about your taxes all during the year, getting all your paperwork together. Man, I'll tell you something, what's your time worth? That's one thing that people just don't realize. Once you relinquish, I'm going to tell you something, one thing that you're going to be incredibly relieved about. That is the fact that you won't have to file any more tax returns. Now, you can put yourself in that position where you do have to file. Let me give you an example why. Let's say you relinquish and you move to St. Kitts, okay, and you want to set up a local company, and this is a licensed local company. Well, you would have to file it for that company, but let's say you want to live in St. Kitts, but you want to set up either a Panama offshore company or a Seychelles offshore company or a Belize offshore company. You could actually set, because Belize actually reforms some of their tax reforms. I did a video on that too. Most of the companies, Belize offshore corporations now would not pay income taxes. There is a filing requirement you have, but there is no tax on the actual company. But you don't have to go with Belize. You can go with other companies that don't have any sort of filing requirements at all. So, it's really up to you what you pick and what you choose to get your taxes to zero and what sort of filing requirements you're going to have. You obviously can live in St. Kitts, though, and not have any sort of business, and you don't have to file any tax returns anymore if you're no longer a U.S. citizen, and if you're from a high-tax country like, Austria or, countries like Australia. You can detax yourself from those countries by being outside the country long enough to where now you don't have to file any taxes on that. And the time that it takes, man, in doing your taxes each year and having to think about doing it, it doesn't make sense. I was talking to a guy today that was living in Costa Rica, and he's thinking about relinquishing it. Now, this is the thing that you should be thinking about, because you can live in Costa Rica now that has a territorial tax system. They were going to be changing some of the stuff, but they didn't. They came back because there was so much of an uproar on their changing their territorial tax system. And you can live there and totally have no taxes at all and have no filing requirements if your business is outside the country, because Costa Rica doesn't tax income outside the country. You can't do that with Puerto Rico. You're going to have to have all these filing requirements, all the time it takes, thinking about getting all this stuff together. I mean, what's your time worth? This is what I always tell people. What is your time worth? And if you want to go back to the U.S., you can go back to the U.S. whenever you want to, okay? And just don't break the substantial presence test where they're going to tax you on your worldwide income, okay? But you can still go back. You know the length of time it takes you to go back to the U.S. from Belize to Panama or St. Kitts? It's about a 3 or 4 hour flight, depending on which part of the country you're going to. It's like going from one end of the country to the other. It's probably even shorter than going from North Carolina to California, okay? Now, the reason I wanted to bring this out to you is I want to show you the ramifications of if you go the Puerto Rico route, some of the problems that you could run into, okay? One of the problems is if Puerto Rico changes their laws, their tax laws, and then you decide you want to relinquish, I want you to listen to what I'm telling you here, okay? If you want to relinquish, you could end up paying more in exit taxes than all those years you saved in taxes being in Puerto Rico versus being in the U.S., which if you relinquished a long time beforehand, you wouldn't have had to have had that. And I'm going to give you an instance in this video, which I'm going to go through. I'm going to give you an example of a guy who made a friggin' fortune, probably one of the biggest investments that I've ever seen in the shortest period of time. And I'm going to show you, I don't know if the guy's a U.S. citizen or what, but he's going to have, if he is a U.S. citizen, he's going to have a humongous tax bill if he tries to exit. And things like this need to be done ahead of time. Also, before I go through this, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport, as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and also the notification bell next to that subscribe button. And I also would like to hear from you if you got a question or comment. Number 2 and number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. Okay, let me give you an example of a guy who took an investment. It's a crypto wallet. It actually showed an investor. He made an $8,000 investment in a coin called Shiba Inu coin purchased last year. Some of y'all probably saw this on the internet. Okay, this was an $8,000 investment about a year ago. Today it's worth 5.7, not million, but $1 billion. This is in a year. This was an $8,000 investment. Okay, this is probably one of the highest investments I think I've ever seen in that short period of time. Now, what would this guy have done if he had done all this outside the U.S. and had relinquished his U.S. citizenship if he was a U.S. citizen? I don't know if this guy's a U.S. citizen, what his nationality is, but I can tell you this, hopefully he's in a tax haven where he made this money. And this is the reason I'm telling you this, because you could end up losing more being in Puerto Rico and then exiting out from what you end up losing in exit tax, that all the money you saved in Puerto Rico all those years before you got out totally. Now, if the laws change in Puerto Rico, you might be forcing yourself to relinquish. But then you can end up spending a lot more depending on what your assets have built up to. Now, let me give you an example of this guy here. This was a crypto investor. He bought 8,000 US dollars worth of Shiba Inu coins in August of 2020. Just over a year later, the $8,000 trade had morphed into a value of about 5.7 billion US dollars. And again, Shiba Inu coin is up more than 7 million% since its debut in August of 2020. Now, in what's being dubbed the greatest individual trade of all time, a crypto investor turned about 8,000 again into 5.7 billion by buying trillions of a Shiba Inu coin, trillions, okay? I'm going to give you the division of this coin here in a minute. But he did this shortly after it was debuted out. Now, this came out in Yahoo Finance, by the way, too. But it talked about in the article, the series of trades began in August 2020 when the investor went in, he took this small little purchase and just made a friggin' fortune off this. And it goes to show you, if you do this before something goes way up through the roof, and you do it while you're not in a high tax country or you're not a U.S. citizen, and you're out in a tax haven, man, you can save a friggin' fortune on something like this. But the series of trades, again, began in August 2020 when the investor bought about 70 trillion Shiba Inu coins, according to the Associated Crypto Wallet. Shiba Inu coins began trading in August the 1st, 2020, and the investor took note that day and made their first Shiba Inu purchase, buying about 70 billion coins. Now remember, these things were selling at a fraction of a cent. Now, about the time of the investor's 8,000 purchase, Shiba Inu coins were trading at about, listen to this, 0.000000000189, okay? Now today the cryptocurrency is traded at about 0.00007941, which represents a swift 14-month gain of more than 7 million%. Now the crypto wallet now owns more than 13% of the total supply of this actual coin, and which has a total circulating supply of 549 trillion coins, according to CoinMarketCap. I mean, this just shows you what can be done in some of these cryptocurrencies. I haven't seen any of them do like this one has, but hopefully this guy was, smart enough to get out early enough before he made all this money. But Shiba Inu's unlikely rise is capitulated in the meme-inspired cryptocurrency to a total market valuation of nearly $45 billion, eclipsing Dogecoin, Dogecoin and becoming the 9th most valuable cryptocurrency as of Thursday morning. Now, I said 40, I think I said 45 billion. I don't know if I said 45 million. It's 45 billion is the total market capitalization of this coin now. The move higher has been a head scratcher for many investors who see that this Shiba Inu coin is nothing more than a joke based on another cryptocurrency known as Dogecoin, which in itself was created to make fun of other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether. Now, whether the 70 trillion Shiba Inu coin holder will be able to liquidate their holdings without tanking the price of the actual coin remains to be seen. But for now, they're holding on. Anyway, folks, this just shows you, if you plan to make a fortune, do it when you're out of a high tax country. And if you're a U.S. citizen, you can't just be out of the country. You're going to have to relinquish. And if you're smart, you'll do it long before you actually build the money up. Again, Puerto Rico is not the answer. You need to get out of your citizenship in the U.S., relinquish. You can still go back to the U.S. You can take trips there. Just don't break the substantial presence test. Folks, don't be wimpy on this. Get out all the way. That's the way to do it, okay? 3 things. If you want more videos like this, folks, we got over 500 videos. This is where you're going to pick up some really good things like this and other things on how to get your taxes to zero and how to get a passport as quick as 45 days. And if you want to learn more on this, hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. You'll get new videos automatically as they come out. I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And also, folks, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit that top bar that says apply with us. Fill out the questions. Hit that bottom bar that says send it to us. We'll get back with you. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Take care.